I deal with money on a daily basis. That is true. I check bank accounts, I pay bills, I move things around, I check things, I might follow up on something. So there is absolutely time spent on money every day. But then I set these money dates so that I can do the things that you don't get to on a regular day. The things that you really need to be doing, maybe reviewing your investment portfolio, maybe making some changes, maybe reviewing, whatever. There's always a lot to review. Your relationship with money matters. I'm Michelle Perkins, and this is the Money and You podcast, where I will be breaking down your relationship with money, offering tough love money tips, and a money dating plan that will focus on lifting the barriers to success to help pave the way for better money practices and increased wealth. It's time to take control to live a limit-free life. It starts today. Hello, and welcome to the Money and You Show. I'm Michelle Perkins, your host. Very happy to be here today. I'm going to do a solo show, a short one, and I'm going to talk about dating your money. So I talk about this a lot. I have programs around dating your money, and the reason I like to talk about it in that way is because you have a relationship with money, a very important relationship, and in order to understand that, it's kind of a hard concept, right? It doesn't really make that much sense initially until you start realizing that the way you do other relationships is probably, something that you can look at and ask yourself, am I doing money the same way? Like, if I'm in a relationship with money, how would I treat my money? And this is all a mindset. And with money, we can learn about money. I can send you to Google. I can send you all over the place to 100 books, and you can learn about money. Does it matter? Maybe, maybe not. It's all dependent on your money mindset, how you think about money, how you think about yourself with money. And we have so many beliefs about ourselves and money, whether we can manage money well, whether we can earn money, whether we can keep money, whether, all the things, whether we can ever learn to invest, whether we can ever have more money than, we have now, or than our parents had, or whatever. So all of this mindset, this is what I really learned in my travels through life. And this is really why I do the show. And this is my mission, is to help people do better financially, have more financial well-being, because that's what brings you not happiness, but a sense of security, a sense of empowerment, a sense of choice. It gives you the ability to change what you do, change jobs, build businesses, take vacations. It gives you freedom. It gives you choice. So does it give you happiness? Well, that's a little dependent on the choices that you make within that. But it is a crucial element to our lives, whether we like it or not. That's the way our world works. And so we could argue about whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. But the reality is, it is what it is right now. So I really have a mission and a dedication to helping people feel confident, empowered, knowledgeable, and able with money. And the best thing I have found, I've worked in finance and accounting for many years. I'm a former CPA. I'm a business consultant. I know the practical side of money. And what I know is that will not do it for you. You have to understand your mindset and your relationship with money first and foremost, or you will just continue to perpetuate habits and beliefs and ideas that don't serve you and don't get you to your goals, no matter how much you know. You can know things and you still don't implement them, or you can know things and you still don't quite take action. So knowing is great, learning is great, education is great, but before you really dive into, too deeply into that, know yourself. Know who you are, what you think, what you believe, and what you feel capable of, and many other things about money. So I have tried to find ways to help people understand this. And one of the best ways I have found is, okay, if we're saying money is a relationship, well, how do you handle relationships? One of the things that we do with relationships, if we want them to be good, is we spend time with them. So I was curious, what's going on? I know what's going on with people because I talk to them all the time. And I know how little really most people spend with their money. Sure, they pay bills. They go get insurance. They try to negotiate a raise once in a while. People, obviously, they're getting jobs. They're dealing with money, often when they have to. And what I think about is if you were in a relationship with a person and you only dealt with them when you had to, how would that relationship be? It'd be very, very surface level, not very good, wouldn't really be growing. So let's equate money in that way with other relationships. And how do we spend time on it? I always suggest that you have a money dating plan. I will teach you how to have a money dating plan and what to do on those money dates in my money date program. And because it is a little mysterious. I used to, I think I've said this before, tell people go on your calendar and every week set aside some time that you're going to have a money date. Only people would go and they'd find that hour on the calendar and they'd sit down and they wouldn't know what to do. So I made it kind of my program to teach people and to chaperone and go along with them for about 10 money dates. So you kind of get the idea and you see what to do. And all along the way, we're working on your money mindset and this relationship with money. And you can do this on your own. It's always better with help. But if you want to do this on your own, you have to spend time with money. What you do with that time is extremely important, just like in any other relationship. Because you need to get to know your money, just like you need to get to know a person, and you need to know yourself in that relationship. How are you with different people? Have you ever thought about that? Like, maybe you're super funny with one person and maybe you're super serious with another. Maybe you're kind of grouchy with a certain person. Maybe you're judgy with a certain person, and somebody else, they can do no wrong. It's very interesting how we operate with our relationships. And we have to know that with money too. How do we feel when our bank account gets low? How do we feel when our debt looks too high? How do we feel when we think about saving? How do we feel when we think about buying that house that we are hoping to have? How do we feel when we start having kids? There's so many questions. Do they scare you? Do they excite you? This is all within you. This is the stuff you have to figure out. And you have to look back into your childhood and think, what were the conversations around money? Were my parents always fighting about money? Because that will trigger a lot of things in your own relationship with money. Lots of other things. We could talk about this all day, but what I want to talk about is the very first thing I talked about, which was spending time with your money. So I got a little curious and I thought, how much time are people spending with their money? My personal experience is not enough, not very much at all. Usually just on kind of an as-needed basis. That doesn't really allow for your money growth and your financial well-being. When you are only doing the things that you absolutely have to do because something outside of you is demanding it, like a bill being paid, you're not going to enhance your financial well-being. You're going to maintain at the very best. And that's not what we want with money. And that's not really what we want with any relationship. Are you just trying to maintain a relationship, or are you trying to build and develop a relationship so it's really good? And when your money relationship is developed and it's feeling good, you feel good too. Other things in your life, you can move aside from the money, obsession and focus on the things that you actually really want to be focusing on. And so that's where I think it's very interesting. There is a study from Northwestern Mutual that found that 92% of Americans age 18 and over agreed with the statement, this is a quote, "Nothing makes me happier or more confident in life than the feeling that my finances are in order." That's kind of interesting, right? 92%. Nothing makes them feel better than that. And I think it's not about the money. I think it's because they feel secure. They feel, okay, I've got this. They feel like life isn't going to fall apart any moment. And they can go on and actually pay attention to the things that really are much more exciting for them. Their hobbies, their interests, their kids, their whatever. So I think that is super interesting. So I continued to kind of look at this, and I found an article that it's the people that own the Motley Fool, the Ascent, and they did some research, and they found some interesting things. Only 3% of Americans engage in financial planning daily. This was in 2022, and that was actually down from a few years ago in 2019 and significantly down from earlier periods. So what we see is that financial planning for individuals, kind of their own financial planning, sitting with their money, thinking about it, setting goals, figuring out strategies to how to reach those goals, it's actually going down, which is not a good thing. And the information was really, they segmented it by age, and it was very interesting. I'm not going to get into too many details, but this was a little frightening. The average minutes per day on financial management, this is all Americans, the time they spend per day on financial management, let's see, in 2003, it was 2.4 minutes. And in 2022, it was 1.8 minutes. I don't know how you get anything done in 1.8 minutes. Average minutes per day on financial management among Americans engaged in financial management. So the ones who are actually engaged, the 2-minute people, we're talking about people who really aren't making any effort to engage with their money. The people who are engaging with their money, we're looking at about 48 minutes back per day in 2003, and we're looking at 54 minutes in 2022. So there's a big difference. I mean, that in itself will help you see how the people who are engaged in financial planning are spending almost an hour a day. Do you need to do that? I personally don't think so. But you need to spend time. This is all part of it, is figuring out for you specifically, customizing it. What do you actually need? I don't spend an hour a day. I don't, maybe sometimes I do, but I have specific times that I set aside. I deal with money on a daily basis. That is true. I check bank accounts, I pay bills, I move things around, I check things, I might follow up on something. So there is absolutely time spent on money every day. But then I set these money dates so that I can do the things that you don't get to on a regular day. The things that you really need to be doing, maybe reviewing your investment portfolio, maybe making some changes, maybe reviewing, whatever. There's always a lot to review. And there's a lot to make changes to, and there's a lot to improve on. Maybe you have an automatic savings amount that's been set for quite a while. So going in there and looking at that and, could I change that and save a little bit more? So there are many things that you can spend time on, but so, there's a difference between sort of the daily tasks that have to be done again and the money date time where you're sitting with your money in a comfortable, happy environment with, maybe you have your favorite beverage, maybe you have a nice surrounding, maybe you don't even do it at home if it's messy, but you spend time and you have a defined money topic that you're going to deal with. Maybe you're just reading about money. Maybe you're spending your money date learning how to be more financially savvy. Maybe you're watching YouTube videos or listening to my podcast during that hour and learning more about money. It doesn't, this is to be designed by you. I help people to design these things because sometimes people are just stumped on what will actually move the needle. But let's just call it a kind of give it a category of financial planning. Maybe that's setting financial goals for the year. Maybe that's figuring out how you're going to reach those goals. There's a lot to it. Maybe that's figuring out how to, reduce your debt, whatever. The fact that the people who are spending, less than 2 minutes a day, we wouldn't call them financial planners. They are people who are not engaged in financial planning. And the others are spending considerably more. We're looking at about 7 hours a week for those folks. So what do we do? How do we build this relationship with money? I can pretty much guarantee your relationship with money is not going to be great if you're spending the bare minimum time. I'm going to go out on a limb and say if your mindset is right, and if you're thinking about your money and your financial future in the proper way, that hour that you would spend per day or less is going to really catapult you into a place of financial freedom. I think if you combine those two things, the time spent with your money and a relationship and a mindset that is going to help you. And I can define that further, but I'm just going to leave it at that since we talked about it a bit. So that is a little bit about time. Again, part of the problem in the financial world is people setting these sort of formulas for people. This percentage, your budget should be, this percentage for your home and this percentage for other things. And I don't think that works. And I think it's a guideline. We like guidelines. We like frameworks as people. We want structure. But I definitely think, yes, you can go to Google for those kinds of parameters. But really, you should go to a person, a financial coach, a financial advisor, and talk through your situation. How much time do you have? Maybe you don't have 7 hours a week to spend on your money. I get that. Maybe you have, 3 kids. Maybe you have other things going on. Maybe you don't want to. I don't think you need that, but you do need more than 2 minutes. You need something that is going to give you the time to pay attention, to get to know your money, to get to know yourself, and to make decisions about your money. And those decisions you want to come from an empowered place. How many of you have made frantic, emotional, I'm scared to death kind of decisions about money? And if you do this work, if you spend this time with your money, you're no longer going to make those kind of decisions because you're not going to be in that place. And here's the next thing. Crisis response. That was an interesting point in the research that the Motley Fool did. 1 in 4 Americans surveyed by the Motley Fool assent to primarily start financial planning in response to unexpected expenses or income loss. So you lose your job, you're suddenly in like, oh my gosh, I need to look at my budget, do a budget, figure out what this means for my life. That is another big mistake, obviously. That's like dealing with your fitness after you have a heart attack. Yes, you can make some improvements, but you're in a panic at that point and you're scared and it's not fun. It's necessary. With money, making it fun is the best thing you can do. That's how these people are talking about feeling empowered with money, because they're actually sitting down, they're getting to know it, and they start to have fun. They start to look at numbers and think, this is fun. Finding savings can be fun. It becomes like a game. It becomes you and your money kind of navigating the world together so that you can reach your goals and dreams. It's not just to have more money, have a bigger bank account. It's because you have things that you want to do in life, and money is the resource you need to do it. So I really want to drive that home, that this isn't a chore. Well, it is if you think it is, right? So you need to not think it's a chore, and you need to work on that. And the best thing to do is figure out ask yourself the question, how am I going to spend time with my money, and how am I going to make it a really good time? And then how am I going to celebrate that I did that? Because you do kind of deserve a little treat or something when you spend time with your money. So waiting until there's a crisis with money, time is very important. The earlier you do things, the better. Just like with your fitness, honestly. I lost a lot of years when I wasn't strength training, and now I'm trying to scramble and get back into it. And I'm very sorry that I stopped, because that made no sense in the big scheme of things. And money, you lose time, you lose the time for interest to compound, you lose the habit building skills that you can grow and develop. So time is very important with money. That you do not want to wait until there's a crisis. You want to start doing this when things feel great. So, and even if you feel already financially very, confident, and you feel like you're in a really good place financially, that doesn't mean you should stop having a relationship. What if your relationship with your partner, your friend, is great? Do you say to yourself, yeah, now I can kind of ignore them because our relationship's so good? No. You enjoy it more, actually. You spend more time with them, and you have, bigger things you want to do with them, travel with them, whatever, because the relationship is good. Same with money. It's not one of those things. This is a forever relationship. You can't get rid of it. So it's super important to make it a good one. The other thing that was interesting, that is, again, the opposite of what it should be, is age. They found that age mattered, and that financial planning engagement increases with age. those 65 and older were the most involved with their money. Okay, how does that make sense? I mean, your best earning years, they're not necessarily over, but they could be. Depends on, again, how you feel about work. That is one of those things, again, just what we were talking about. The earlier you start, the better. The earlier you are a financial planner, the more empowered you're going to be, the more confident you're going to be. By the time you're 65, if you do that, you're not looking at your money all the time because you've navigated this in a way that allowed you to get to a certain age, whatever that age is, and just kind of live. Maybe you've been able to invest enough so that you know how much money you can pull out of those investments and live on. I'm not necessarily saying 65. Most people are not doing that at 65 anymore, but whatever age you're talking about. But this idea that you kind of just put off financial planning until you're at an age where it's almost too late to take advantage of a lot of the time benefits of, what you can do with your money to grow it. But that makes no sense at all. So don't leave it until there's a financial crisis before you become your own financial planner. We're not saying you shouldn't also have professional planners, advisors, all kinds of people in your life to help you. But you also want to learn to plan your own finances. This is very empowering to hear what the experts say and be able to make your own educated decisions about what works for you. If your money life doesn't work for you and your lifestyle and your, available hours and all of those things, it's not going to work. You're not going to stick to it. Just like exercise. If you make a workout routine too hard to get to, it's too far away, your gym, whatever it is, the likelihood that you're going to do it starts going way down. Same with money. Make it easy, make it fun, make it doable. These are things, it's almost like the SMART goals. You want to make them what you do with your money measurable. You want to make it realistic. You want to make it time bound. You want to have those times on your calendar. So I am going to just leave you with that. I think it is extremely important. If I leave you with a couple tips, figure out, do a little assessment. How much time am I spending with my money doing the extras, not doing just the have-to things like paying bills? How much time are you currently spending? How much time would an extra couple of hours a week or even an extra 1 hour a week, what would that allow you to do? What could you do in that time? And then brainstorm about 20 different things that have been in the back of your mind somewhere that you would like to do with money. Maybe you want to get that app and set that up, but you haven't found time to connect all your bank accounts to the app and everything else. Maybe you want to check on your credit. Maybe you study up on how to improve your credit. These are great things to do. So how much time do you need to start doing these extra things? And then where are you going to put that on your calendar? Because if it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. If you aren't putting that time on your calendar and your calendar fills up with everything else in your life, you're not going to do your money dates. So this is really all about spending time with your money and figuring out how to do that. Where are you going to do it? How are you going to make it fun? How are you going to make it a nice experience? Okay? So figure that out. Set it up just as if you are treating it like, I don't know. For me, I have clients. If I treat my money dates the way I treat my client meetings, it would be a no-brainer. I mean, I would always show up. So how can you make it so you don't bail on it? Because that's the other thing that you can do is set it up on your calendar, and then it starts being this recurring thing. Do you have those on your calendar where you see it every week and you literally don't see it? You don't do it. It's on there, but you don't do it. So we can't make your money date that. So we have to play some games in our mind and make sure that we're on board with this. And if you keep reminding yourself what this can do for you, set some goals, set some money goals. I want to save X amount for my emergency fund. I want to get rid of this much debt. I want to have this much in my future house savings. Whatever it is, set some goals so that you have something to work toward. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? If your why is strong enough about this, you will do it. If there's a good enough reason, you'll make yourself show up. And if you're not, get some accountability. If you have that on your calendar and months are going by and you're not doing it, ask somebody to help you. Ask somebody to join you. Get a friend and you both sit on Zoom together and you work on your money in the same hour. You don't even have to talk to each other, but you can declare what you're going to do in that hour to your friend. Friend does the same. And then at the end of the hour, you check in and see, okay, did you do it? Hopefully that keeps you from running off and doing something else. So there's a lot of little tips there for how to have money dates. And I really, really, really know that this will change the game for you. So if you're not wanting to do it, ask yourself why that is. Why wouldn't I spend a little more time? And why wouldn't I take this seriously and make this part of my regular routine? Because you don't want to be financially free? What would the answer be? Because your chance of becoming more financially free and happy and empowered and confident, this is absolutely a great step to take. Okay. So this concludes our show today. I hope you liked it. I hope if you got something out of it, you are willing to share it with a friend, give us a rating or a review. And I really want to get the word out about how important it is to pay attention to your money and to get your money house in order so that you can live your life and have the freedom and the fun that you deserve. All right. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week.